Today is April 5th, 2010, and 16 years ago, Kurt Cobain was found dead in his greenhouse of their Washington home in Seattle. And I just wanted to make more kind of an awareness video because he was such a great person and he needed to be noted not just for Nirvana but as a person. And I think that this situation this year is a lot like when he was found dead, because April 4th, which was yesterday, was Easter Sunday, and the week that Kurt was found dead, April 3rd was Easter Sunday. So I think it really matches, and that everyone should be aware of everything that he's done. And when his life was taken from us, it wasn't just his life, it took so many others' lives. And y'all may not be very familiar with Kurt Cobain and his death and his music and everything that he's done for society, but when he was murdered or committed suicide or whatever you want to believe, but as of now the verdict is undetermined, so you cannot say he committed suicide legally. But there were so many copycat suicides, and the actual suicide rate went up 50% after he was dead. And I'm going to read from a book called Love and Death, which explores into the murder theory of Kurt Cobain. And I'm going to read some of the copycat suicides to, let people know that it was not just him who died, it was many others. Okay, first one. Just after midnight on July 2nd, 1994, an 18-year-old Edmont boy named Bobby Steele put Nirvana's song Endless Nameless on the stereo and presses the repeat play button. Minutes later, he lifts a 12-gauge shotgun from his father's collection of loads steel shells. Dressed in a Nirvana Sliver t-shirt, he takes a little black diary out and begins to write. July 94, I just can't live anymore. If you just think a lot, you just stop knowing that life has a purpose. I'm not intoxicated or high. I just feel bad. It has been the most painful 84 days of my life. 84 days earlier, Bobby learned that his hero, Kurt Cobain, had killed himself with a shotgun. A few weeks later, a teenage friend of the family named Greg had locked himself in a car with the engine running and died of carbon monoxide poisoning. Bobby and his sister believed that he had never gotten over Kurt's death. Now, Bobby finishes writing the words in his diary, ending with a veiled reference from the passage of Kurt's suicide note, in which he wrote, "So remember, it's better to burn out than fade away." Instead, Bobby writes, "It's better not to spark at all. Rod Steele." He signs the note and snaps a Polaroid of himself with a Kurt Cobain poster in the background. He then takes another picture of himself reclining in his bed with a copy of Nirvana's In Utero above his head. He lines the photos on his bed and then positions himself on the floor so that when his body is found, he will look like Kurt in the greenhouse photo. With the death-haunting words of Endless Nameless playing in the background, he positions the muzzle of the shotgun in his mouth and pulls the trigger. Now, to me, if Kurt Cobain really was murdered, which I believe in that theory, that the person responsible is not responsible for just one person. He or she is responsible for so many other people that I know it's their fault that they killed themselves or whatever, but the fact that it was him who drove these killings, and just because he was just such an amazing person, it's not necessarily Nirvana, it's Kurt himself, because I know if like Dave Grohl died or something, it would be a very big deal, but it wouldn't be like Kurt Cobain dying. And then another one, I'll read one more. Okay, on November 20th in Niagara Falls, Ontario, an unnamed 17-year-old male burns himself in his basement bedroom. The day after the funeral, his 19-year-old best friend hangs himself from a tree in the park. The suicides are described in the media as Cobain-related. Both boys were devotees of Nirvana. Their mother blames the death music for the suicides. 2 weeks later, a 20-year-old Californian named Lyle Snack jokingly imitates Kurt's suicide, accidentally kills himself in front of his friends by popping a 12-gauge shotgun on the floor, then kneeling with his mouth into the barrel. Eventually, there would be 68 documented cases of copycat suicides worldwide. The real figure is likely in the hundreds. Since most of the suicides don't even know because it's not an intended suicide. Max death does not count in the statistics. But it's not necessarily that he still killed himself by accident just to copy what went on that day. And I think that is an extremely severe problem. And I think we should all just recognize Kurt Cobain as a person, not in Nirvana. Now, Nirvana made many accomplishments and achievements, and I love Nirvana, but I'm not necessarily a big Nirvana fan as I am a Kurt Cobain fan. And, like, for example, Courtney Love, alright, let's take her. Well, she has a lot of issues, and I'm not hating on her or anything, but she could at least take a little bit more responsibility about Kurt's death. And not only that, but she has a daughter who I believe is 17 now. And, no, she's not 17, she's like 17 or 18, I don't know. And she raised virtually her whole life without a father there. And I know that drugs are very prominent in Cobain's life, the family, and I just hope and pray that his daughter resists from those drugs. And Kurt Cobain's his case was special for everything, and I just think that everyone should recognize him as a person, and that today people should, not necessarily mourn, but celebrate his life, because he was such a great person, and everything about him is just so much that should be recognized more than he was just a heroin addict, or he was the lead singer of Nirvana. And everyone thinks, okay, Nirvana sucks, whatever, because maybe they didn't have the best guitar, or, but they were so different. They started a completely new everything. And I just feel that should be recognized more than the disappointments or anything, because achievement should always overshadow disappointments in every case. And Kurt Cobain he died at 27. 27 is so young. That's a baby in lifetime. It really is. And we should just honor him so much because of everything he's done for us. And he has not touched you personally. He's touched others around you. And even if it was just having an album to put on an iPod or something, it's still that he was there in your life. And he's made a complete difference in my life. He's made me realize that drugs are not the answer for anything. Drugs should not be used because they kill everyone. And if you didn't know this when he was found dead, he has 7 times the lethal amount of heroin in his body, which is physically impossible for you to still remain conscious after that. And he's made me realize that life is more important than just becoming successful. He was never a big person for money, he didn't really even love his fans the way that I would, or that, like Freddie Mercury went out there and just engulfed in the pleasure from what the fans did for him. Kurt didn't really care. He was just he was so different from your average famous person, but yet he died and had the same fate that everyone else does, and that's not fair. That's not fair to him. And I just think that we should really recognize that he was a great person, and that just honor him. Maybe watch some Kurt videos, maybe watch something about him. Sounds really good. Read up on him. I think that everyone should be aware of how great of a person he is. He really is. He is amazing. And I love him. I really do. And although he's dead, and maybe he was a heroin addict and all this stuff, but those things can be overcome. They shouldn't be the focus of everything. His achievements are by far more important than anything that he's ever done to make us feel. He creates this feeling inside of people who are touched by him. He creates this feeling of placement, and I I feel right in this world because he has helped me so much through everything, and I know he's not a big thing for fans or whatever, and I'm not necessarily a complete devotee to him or Nirvana, but I love him and I appreciate everything he's done for this world and for me personally. And I feel that we should just, take a second out of our day to realize that he died today. Already it's around April 8th. He died today. And we just lost someone amazing. And that should always be recognized. And so, Kurt, I love you, and I think that I'm not the only person who is mourning over your death, but more of the celebration should be occurred. So, I'm going to celebrate Kurt, and I think everyone else should, so rest in peace, Kurt Cobain.